Monday comes quick, don't it?
Sure does, man.
Even though we missed a week.
We did. Yeah,
yes, we did.
I had some issues, but hey, we are Power and Speed. 908-751-0211 as if somebody's going to call.
And good old like us on Facebook and iTunes, but hey, you're all here listening, so.
You know, I wanted to bring up something that you brought up, Tad.
Yeah.
You had told me, somebody on that Facebook thing
Yes.
that everybody says I should go to all the time.
On the internets?
On the internets. That people were trying to look and figure out how to listen on Sonos.
Yes.
Apparently, we are listed on TuneIn.
On TuneIn?
Yeah, so if the TuneIn application is in there, then they can just like go right through and listen to the stuff. Ironically, I found it on iHeartRadio, and it says it doesn't play, but it like the codec is wrong or something for Sonos, but it plays from TuneIn.
I don't know why more people just don't go to Google Play.
Well, I mean, they want to use Sonos. Sonos is really cool. It's like standalone. This shit I have here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I mean, it puts everything right there.
I have pre-Sonos. That's the one right before it. I think.
No, this is actually
I know.
Sonos.
I know.
But yeah, so if you wanted to listen on the Sonos, and a lot of garages have them, a lot of car guys have them because
it's a Bluetooth deal, right?
No, it's one device gets plugged into the network, and then it'll talk to your phone. It'll play shit off your phone. It's a nice deal, and it's good quality stuff. But yeah, you can get it there too.
Yeah.
So just to clear that up for the guy that was asking.
That one guy.
Yeah, it was one guy.
We cater to our people, man.
We should.
That's why they love us.
As we should.
Yeah. So what's up? I was, as you guys know, I was away. I was in Florida, watching race cars and shit.
And you actually told me that people came up to you.
Yeah. Well, that was at the show. Yeah. One of the owners of Titan, a couple guys that worked there, and just a couple of people. They're like, "Hey, you're the guy from the podcast." I'm like, "Yeah, I know.
Could they tell by the T-shirt?
Autograph session later. Fuck off, Tad.
Sorry, it had to be done.
Right away.
That's just straight up wrong, Viper.
God, right away.
Yeah, I know. I deserved it.
Well, that's pretty good. I mean, you said it was a chunk of people.
Well, I mean, chunk for us.
Yeah.
7 people.
Yeah, but I mean, what if you think about it?
I know. I'm just a random guy. And
I know.
Like, hey, you're that guy. I said, yeah, there's going to be an autograph session after the bikini contest. I did get asked to judge the bikini contest again. I always turn it down.
Why?
Well, because we're, the company that I was representing there, we're a more conservative company.
Gotcha. Understood. That's a shame.
Yeah, a little bit. So, what do you got, Tad?
What do I have?
I heard something you were talking about glass cylinder heads and
a couple of weeks ago.
Slippers or some shit.
There's a guy that does the slow motion videos. And I found another one. He had, I forget who threw the video up. As you could just see a flathead Briggs & Stratton with a clear plexiglass head.
Yep.
You could see it firing. I found him doing another one where he not only did with the gasoline, but then he ran it with methanol. But he ran it in an interesting way. He dumped methanol down the carburetor throat and couldn't figure out why methanol washes through the cylinder like it does, obviously, because it's not coming through a carburetor. It's being dumped in. Then he ran it on acetylene, which was obscure, to say the least.
I actually sent that guy an email saying, dude, let me help you tune that, and it will actually light at least 1 out of 4 strokes.
Yeah, you saw that same one, right? Yeah.
I didn't bring him in yet, but
no.
Here's Scott Clark.
Sorry, I'm horrible like that.
No, that's all right. No, and we're gonna have a lot of good conversation with Scott. I can see this coming.
Yeah.
Because it was already started. This is gonna be good.
Yeah. It will be good. And I guess a lot of it's gonna be based on Drag Week. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got
we registered.
We're in. Yeah, we're in.
6 minutes.
Yep.
What happened the other years? How quick did it sell out, Scott?
It's been like that 4 or 5 years now. I think it sells out really quick. The early years, there were no limitations on people. I think maybe 40, 50, 60 people show up the first few years and maybe 20 finished.
See, nobody understands. Sorry, Scott. Nobody understands why we think we're going to win. And it starts out as your method of registering. Because I'm going to tell people, because nobody knows this. You had 2 systems going with 2 IP addresses.
I actually had 4 machines.
Yeah,
actually. You only saw the 2.
I saw the 2. Right. Okay. So
I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I didn't know if their back end capacity was okay, or like everybody went to go on and then the system was tanked. So if I got 1 session in, that was good enough.
Yep. So okay, I thought we had 2. We had 4.
Yeah.
So we were getting in.
Well, I have 32 IPs coming out of here, so I could jump on a bunch of different places but yeah, no, it was on my regular wide area IP, got right on,
and
registered.
Isn't that how we do shit?
What do you mean?
That's just how we do shit, right? We go after it hard.
Okay.
Or
Just saying.
stumble into it.
Well, I mean, somebody was just saying before that we're in trouble at Drag Week.
I am so glad we're recording this for all the this is great because about Wednesday morning at 3 a.m. Does anybody have a lifter for my LS?
Oh no,
Oh no, that ain't happening.
No.
See,
We'll see.
Oh no, we won't see. He missed that show.
You got the wrong guy.
I guess.
No doubt.
I guess
got the
you got to
wrong
realize, guys. I've tuned cars I've prepared cars for Drag Week every year since the beginning, and it's really cool. I mean, every single group or guy that decides he's going to go to Drag Week is really confident, and car guys are awesome. And I absolutely, if you're going to win, you got to have that attitude. So that's right. That's definitely where it's at.
Mike,
and there's obviously some history I can tell.
Are we going to change lifters?
No.
We're not going to change lifters.
All right.
We got to be part of the camaraderie.
This is here's what this
we
is
might
gonna
be, but we ain't changing fucking lifters.
I know, because I have said it a million times before. If this thing breaks, anything other than like something that I can be like, ooh, I need to unbolt that. No, it's going home.
Yep.
Somebody could say, well, you're wasting an opportunity. Hey, there's always next year.
That's right.
But I mean, this thing, I'm not, more than anything, it's a Corvette. So that's going to suck. All right.
To work on.
A lifter, see, from my perspective, if you break a lifter, it's game over.
Yeah.
I mean, your camshaft's got to be banged up. I mean, nothing's going to be any good. We, in the circle track side of things, we used to laugh at people because they get in an accident and then they come in and they'd like take a tie strap and pull their axle up so it's not, and they go out there and finish it off. I'm not about to finish it off.
No.
Why
bother?
No. We're going to, but.
So that's why we're confident that we're not going to be changing a lifter. I was just answering you directly. We will not be changing a fucking lifter.
I thought they were going to kick me out of here before the podcast started. The guy's like, we're going to win it. All right. Well, I actually I feel that you guys might have a really good chance.
Well, we might not, but we're not going to go there to play around.
Awesome.
I am the more pessimistic of the two.
However,
I would love to tell you that we're going to go there and win it, but I'm more concerned about, well, see, let's take a few steps back. First off, you had your tuning school at Fonse Performance.
Correct. Saturday and Sunday, just yesterday and the day before. Went awesome. Oh my gosh. Love coming up to the Northeast because, no matter what you say, and we're all fans of Street Outlaws, but I think fast street cars has kind of been the thing up here for generations, I remember coming up here around 2001 or 2, and a buddy of mine took me up to the Four Corners thing, and I went back home telling my friends, I'm like, listen, dude, there are mid 8-second street cars going down for $5,000 races at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday, and people back in the Midwest are like, nah, that's bullshit. No way. There's nothing faster than 10-0s on the street. And I'm like, listen, I'm telling you, I've seen this stuff. Been up here a few times. Well, anyway, my point there is that a really neat crowd of people that Fonse put together that came to the class. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we had a really good time. Our buddy Angel Roman brought his pretty much a grudge car that I'm not going to talk numbers or anything because, he just said, just stop at 500, make a Facebook post when it makes 500. And it did that at half throttle.
Yeah.
But he brought his car up there, and it's kind of funny. He was worried because there was a bunch of things wrong with it. And honestly, I'm not a university, I'm just a pretty simple guy, but I know from experience that 90% of getting your project running is you're going to be solving problems and debugging stuff. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the whole class gets up out of their chairs and chips in. I got pictures of everybody around this car working on things, fixing it. And in the end, we beat that thing and got it running. It made great numbers, got itself on the trailer just fine when it was done, and he's ready to go, make some hits with it. And it was really cool to see, a lot of people were like, oh, well, geez, we're toning out and figuring out that coils are bad, and, oh, this injector's clogged. And I'm like, well, guess what? Guess what's going to happen when you do your build and your project? It's going to be little shit like this,
It jams you up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of cool. I've come to expect that now. I've been doing these classes about a year. And I've just come to expect, I tell guys, just bring your car, whatever state it's in, to the class, and we're gonna work through it no matter what. I mean, what a perfect place. We're at a shop it's an engine building shop. I mean, there was literally nothing you couldn't fix at Fonse. You know, they have stuff in stock. They've got machine equipment.
Yeah, Alan Fudd went to the school.
Yep.
I was supposed to go, but I had my whole own sequence of events that kept me away. And
That's
somehow
okay.
or another, nobody ever told Ted. I told him he should listen to the podcast, and he would have known.
That's okay. Fudd can tune your junk. That's what's going to be funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the list of things that would happen, that's probably about 1,010,000th.
You might be surprised. Old Fudd picked it up pretty good. I was impressed. But anyway, so, you know, my whole class thing, you know, I just tell people, listen, this is part of being real. That's why I called it Real Tuners. You know, you talk to any of the top tuners out there, and they spend less than 10% of their time stroking keys. The rest of that time is spent solving problems. You know, you eliminate all your problems, that car has no other choice but to go A to B as quickly as possible.
He told me you found injector problems, a coil problem.
Yep, wire harness problems.
Yeah.
Thermostat was in backwards.
Oh.
What else did we have on that car that we had to figure out all in an afternoon that we knocked out in about three good hours?
Probably no wonky rods.
Oh, trans brake wiring was not quite right. And this is common stuff. This happens to everybody. But that guy Angel that brought his car up there, for the small tire guys, he was a real good friend of Mustang Mike Modeste, the guy that passed away here a couple months. They did a really neat tribute for him. But it was interesting, you know, talking to Angel before the class, I thought, this is just another kid with a junkyard stock bottom end LS or something he's bringing to the class. And I didn't see many pictures of the car or anything. And he was nice and polite. Well, then we see the car when he shows up and you're like, wow, this is a neat build. And it was one of the best head cam type combos for a turbo car or for LS I'd ever run into. You know, and I'm like, well, who picked your stuff? I was like, Tony Memo, you know, spec'd out the top end, the AFR guy. And you know, it was also the first car that as a tuner, I actually underestimated the fuel the first time we made a wide open hit. You know, now I have the closed loop stuff going on, so it covers my butt, but I was under by about 15%. You know, and I'm like, wow, which means this thing makes a lot more power than I'm used to.
Yeah.
High volumetric efficiency. So it ended up being a really neat combo for the class. I could say, hey man, all the rest of you students, talk to this dude when it's time to pick your LS combos. This guy knows what he's doing. Of course, we have another guy going to call in here shortly who also really knows what he's doing. I'm stoked.
Yep. This is Chris. How do you say his last name? Is it Bishir? Is that how you say it?
I don't know. It's Bishir, or Bishir. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm terrible with names.
Because I know him.
Bishir.
I usually say, just Chris. But you know,
let's ask him. I feel horrible because I've hung out with him many times. He lives where I grew up. He goes to work 5 miles down the road from where I grew up in Indiana at Lingenfelter. We'll have a good chat with him.
Yeah, and he's a multi-time winner.
It's Bishir.
Bishir, that's what I thought.
Bishir, got it.
That's what I thought.
He's a multi-time winner.
Lukey B.
That's cool. What's really cool about that guy is he's super humble, but he's there. If you look under the hood of that car, and we're just going to let him decide what's cool to talk about or whatnot. But I got to take a peek under the hood of that thing, and there was some ridiculously good engineering going on, oriented towards drag week type stuff. There's a reason why that guy wins, and he's totally the opposite of me. He's quiet, I'm a loudmouth.
Well, he works at Lingenfelter.
Yes,
right?
he does, and he does cool things and big accomplishments, and he's a great tuner. I just do tuning. So,
and his numbers were incredible, like the years that he's won.
That's a leaf spring setup.
Yeah, it's an S10. Yeah, it's neat. But he's involved with a whole group of guys that do this. So it's going to be some good conversation with him.
When's he calling?
I told him between 7:15 and whatever. We pick him up when we had a minute.
Good.
So
yeah, he should be good.
I actually did open the phones ahead of time, so I know they're there. So the first thing that Scott said is that, well, you're going to need a lifter or you're going to need this. And I saw all you guys. I saw all the hatred come across the chat room.
I was just reading it right now.
Yeah, people are like, ha ha ha.
Sure, you're going to win.
Okay. Here is what I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around. If you're building a basic conventional motor that, I mean this wholeheartedly, this car, I would get in it and drive it to Florida. I would get in it. I even told somebody, I said, fuck, I might even drive it to drag week. Everything that's in this car should be like roadworthy, regular stuff. And when you're not beating on it, it should just be like any other car. It should. That's kind of what I'm shooting for.
Should.
Now, the stuff that people have break are what? Like lifters, valve springs, everything else?
Well, Yeah, usually it's valve train stuff from what I've seen. I mean, now the last couple years I focused on James McIntyre, Doc McIntyre. Everybody knows him. He's got that red '68 Camaro.
Mm-hmm.
They call it Sea Red, is its nickname, and he's been the all motor. He's going back and forth with Eddie Miller for a few years on the naturally aspirated record at Drag Week.
Now that I could see people breaking shit because they gotta.
Yeah.
Now you're in the
wind it.
intense area of the camshaft. It's got to be super fast. Your valve train's got to be perfect.
Not that you know anything about that.
No, none.
Well, what's funny is I have some faith in you guys. The ones I've seen do well are the circle track experts, the guys that really seem to know a little more about valve trains.
Not that you know anything about that.
Yeah. Well.
Circle track stuff.
No.
So maybe you guys got a chance there. Well, but I mean, there's so many other variables.
I got an important thing.
Okay.
What are we going to name the car? He just said that C-Rad.
Fudd said banana hammock. I'd put that on there just to abuse him.
Yeah.
Jesus, I told my girlfriend to listen.
Here's what I look at. Like, I look back at my past experience, and I can tell you that a lot of people that I know, we have experience. Like, one of the racetracks here is a 5/8, and it's a big 5/8. It's probably more like a 3/4.
Right.
And I'm not really a circle track guy. I got dragged into it, kicking and screaming. My brother got into it, and that's how I learned stuff. And like every other drag racer that went into it, you start to learn the shit that starts to go wrong. So when we can make a 468-inch big block Chevy turn 8,500 for 40 straight laps and on a track that's big enough that you don't even really breathe it other to get in the corner, and valve train's good and all that stuff's good. I mean, to me, those hard hits at the racetrack, I mean, as long as mechanically everything is up to making the power level, like we talked about the moment on the connecting rod and everything else.
Yep.
I'm not worried about valve train. I'm worried about the shit that I don't know about, like the trans.
Yeah.
So let me tell you,
like
let me give you some
or reverse drum,
other things to be worried
bullshit.
about from an experienced drag weeker. Some other things to be concerned about.
Now they're naming the car. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I heard. I saw a Nanner vet. Some shit.
What about if you hit a deer? That's happened a couple times.
Really?
Oh, what the fuck can you do about that?
I think it's happened a
You gotta
couple.
be careful. Yeah, well,
that,
okay.
That 2013
Yes.
427 sitting in there,
Right.
that hit a deer at 3,100 miles. So yeah, it can happen. So I agree that shit like that can happen.
I mean, I saw a top contender guy hit a deer one year, and I was like, oh, God, you planned all this, and that's what happened. So there's those kind of things. But then here's another one that's thrown a lot of guys off. I've always been the electronics nerd or whatever, so I do the navigation for whoever I'm riding along with. There's a number of guys that have been thrown out because they got off the path, off the prescribed route, and just getting lost because sometimes the instructions are not well done. You better plan your stuff out. I mean, I actually bring a GPS and Google Maps, and maybe even paper maps, and I'm plotting out where the directions say as soon as we get them before we leave the track each day, and finding out, hey, we're gonna have a problem here or there, or you might group up with some guys that have a good navigator, but a lot of guys have gotten thrown out of the event by accidentally getting off the beaten path.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you make a mistake driving,
yes.
I mean, if anything, I'd be like,
if you make too much of a mistake and don't backtrack properly.
oh yeah, I would want to backtrack.
Other things that have gotten people thrown out. I mean, there were some guys in an unlimited class, 2011 or 12, whenever it started in Topeka. There were some guys in a car that just looked like it had the unlimited. It was one of those little roadsters with a big inch turbo combo. Obviously capable of running in the 5s, and they got thrown out right away because they went back to their trailer in the impound lot just 2 minutes after they announced that you're not allowed to go touch anything in the vehicles that you towed here with. Now I think it would be legit if you actually drove to the event. We did that the very first year with Jim Neuenfeld's truck, and we won small block power adder. We actually pulled a trailer behind the truck with things like spare engine, spare transmission, welder, generator, a bucket of bolts, all that stuff. We drove that first year, and there are guys that drive, each year, and I think that's super legit right there. Even if you don't finish, that's legit. So just be thinking about all the odds and ends that could go wrong along.
Why would we drive the car there though? I mean, if
it's a pretty long run from here, let me tell you guys.
I mean, the first thing
because I'm a dick.
Yeah. Well, the first worry was all that time, that running time that's going to break the car. Why would we add?
Well, you're telling me you don't even have to worry. It's going to run
hours.
10 years. So
I will if I can't get in this thing and drive it to Florida, I don't want to know nothing about it.
I agree.
That I'm taking the approach to this that I want this to be more of a street car and less of a race car, but a very capable street car. I'm not trying to backtrack from the race car to make it livable on the street. I'm trying to make the street car that's livable go this fast at the track.
Yeah, well, that's the whole idea, because when this car gets back here, it's going to be your fast street car.
Yeah, I'm going to drive this thing around.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I want it for. And to be honest with you, like when February comes and it's like Volusia Speed Week and I want to go down there, I want to get in that car and drive down. You know how cool it would be to drive down with a parachute mount on the back of the car?
And you should be able to.
Yeah. And here's the other, and look, I'm not hating on anybody. This is gonna be a little bad.
Well, that means you are, but go ahead.
A little bit. I'm not, you're not going to see me like you see the stuff, trailer burnouts and all that shit.
Right.
Oh, no. There will be none of that happening because to me, the goal is much more important than the fucking around.
Right. Good.
I couldn't
keep your eye on the prize. Definitely. Yeah. That's you got the right spirit, man, the right attitude. You got to realize you're sitting here talking to a guy who's prepared. So many cars, and I hear this every year. And
I make no mistake about it. I know that this is not an easy task, or everybody would go do it.
That's right,
for sure.
Yep,
for sure. You know, Tom is very confident. I'll tell you that. I'm going to be confident in the motor side, but there are things like I started to say about the driveline that I don't know. The Corvette is a problematic car. As a matter of fact, up until a couple of days ago, Tom says, "Why don't we have a Malibu wagon or something?" And I said,
best vehicle ever for drag week is a big wagon.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I said, Tom, the only reason we're not working with a Malibu wagon is because I own the other one.
Are you pulling a trailer?
Yeah.
Good.
And we did, I saw a Malibu wagon and a Fairmont wagon that was just like Jason's car down in Bradenton. And the Malibu wagon was badass.
Yeah.
770 ride. It was just cool.
You know what's happened? All of a sudden,
they're gone.
The grandma's cars that you couldn't give away.
Frank Saponaro's got one of the best drag week rides ever, as far as it's a big old wagon, tons of room, and you need that tons of room.
He's on it. He's
he's in there giving us he's chuckling at you guys.
Frank, say his last name again?
Saponaro.
I bet you he says forget about it every now and again.
All right, I think we got Chris.
Frank, you should be running Mega Squirt though, you bastard.
Chris, is that you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here.
I had to take a guess because your phone number said unavailable, so I didn't know who it was.
Yeah, Mike gave me the wrong phone number. Some Asian lady picked up, so
get the hell out of here.
Got the right number. I swear, you gave me 752.
Isn't that awesome?
Did I really?
How long did you talk to her?
About 2-3 minutes. Yeah,
that's a legitimate question. Anyway,
now I got to go look.
All right, don't worry about it.
I don't like making mistakes.
So you're the past 3 years winner of this thing.
What's that?
You've won this thing a couple times, eh?
Absolutely, yeah. 2-time, hoping to make it 3.
Oh, 2-time. Okay, we had heard it was 3-time, and somebody said you were going to make it a 4th this year. So,
in 2013, I got 2nd place, and then in 2014, I didn't go, and then 15 and 16 were back-to-back wins.
So, what's your secret? Good, clean living.
Preparation, man. Bring a well-sorted car.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking.
I know what the secret was. Mike wasn't there.
You guys are in my class, though, so I guess my advice is sleep in. Don't go to the track till like noon. That's when everybody else shows up.
Chris, it's Scott here. I tried to warn them about what they're up against, man, but whatever. They're confident. I'm going just to spectate this year.
Are you?
So, go ahead, Mike. Ask him some questions.
Well, I mean, look, first off, can we say where you work? I guess Scott already did before. Chris works at Lingenfelter.
Yeah.
So no secret here that he knows about Corvettes, I'm sure.
Yep.
What do I really got to be worried about here, driveline-wise in the car?
Yeah, axles, diff. What kind of trans are you running?
4L80.
4L80. That's pretty good. If you said 60, I'd say yeah, you're probably gonna have problems with that. 4L80 ought to be pretty good. The diff and the axles are going to be your biggest thing.
Okay. Yeah, and I kind of know that is probably the weakest point, that there's really, if you're going to maintain any of the stock form factor, there's not much you can do. There was an option to do a Power Glide and a Ford 9-inch, which probably really helps out in the backside, but that doesn't really take care of the axles, so yeah, I know those are going to be the
or your
weak
daily
areas.
drivability.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. I want this thing, like I said, streetcar. 4L80, overdrive, lock up, act like a car.
You're really going to like the overdrive on the trip.
Yeah. I think it'd be well, I mean, but do you really need it? Because I heard that the route is like a lot of it's through like rural areas.
It's a lot of both.
Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of space where you can go 80 miles an hour.
And overdrive.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be good.
I've got a Glide with a 315 rear gear, and it works really well. I mean, cruising down the road at 2600.
Well, him and Alan will be neck to neck then.
Now, how is the thing, because it's a Glide and it's a turbo, correct? Turbo vehicle. Okay. So how is it as far as I guess I'll use one of my other highly technical terms, the slushiness of it. If you're driving it, is it particularly hard to manage?
No, it drives really nice. It stays cool.
Okay.
The converter I have, it drives like a stock vehicle. I've had some other converters that, and I won't name names, but I really hated driving them. They were exactly like you described, slushy.
Yeah.
A good turbo converter drives like stock vehicle will. If you really get into the throttle, then it'll stall up, but they drive nice. They don't have a lot of heat.
Yeah, see, that's kind of what I was hoping, because that's one of the things that's hardest on a trans is when you have a converter that's a loose enough converter to make, let's say, a normally aspirated motor do what you need it to do. They don't drive well. They're always slipping. And then you got heat generation.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm, like I said, I want to go on record. Tom is very confident. We're winning. Mike's saying he'd like to win.
Tom, I'll bring the winner's jacket. That way you get to see what one looks like.
That's fair enough. Hey, we got rookie confidence, man. We might just be a bunch of idiots that are
pretty cool car.
We won't make it past the first round. Who knows? Or we might.
You will have the time of your life either way, guaranteed. Drag week is one of those things where 51 weeks out of the year, it's the coolest damn thing you ever did. And then 1 week out of the year, you're like, why the hell am I doing this?
I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's awesome.
Do we know who's on hold?
No. I think it might be Luke.
I just gave somebody else
It might be Luke. If it's Luke, he's in a penalty
Why
box.
do I hear somebody's in the background?
I don't know. Might be Chris's phone. Chris, do you have audio on in the background somewhere or no?
Speakerphone is off, but I'm in the garage right now, so you might be hearing some background noise.
Okay. All right. No big deal.
Okay.
Settle down, Tom.
I live out here.
I'm settled. Do we want to see who that is, or are we just going to let him hang?
We'll let him hang for a few minutes.
All right. I think it is Luke.
Is it Luke?
Lukey B.
Yeah, he can wait. He was cracking on me too.
That's all he does is crack.
Yeah, he's a pretty rough character.
Yeah.
But he's going to be there. I saw PJ is going to be there. There's going to be a lot of people there. Chris, tell us a little bit about Team 260 and tell us what you got going on.
Lukey B just said, "Fuck you, Mike."
Okay.
260. That's we got a bunch going on, man. We're just a huge group of, most of us are younger guys. We have turbo LS swept cars, and we just live racing. I mean, that's pretty much what we do all the time. Our focal point. And right now we got a couple. One thing's brand new to us. The other thing we've done for a couple of years. No prep racing is huge right now, and there's not a whole lot up north for no prep. So two of our guys on our team, Adam and Nick, they got the idea together to do a no prep, and they're calling it Neglection.
Greatest name ever.
The reason they're calling that is because the track they're holding at is closed down. It hasn't been touched for 10 months. So, I mean, this is like the most legit no prep you can do.
Yeah, so this is as no prep. You've actually had the track sit there weathering with nothing going on it for all this time.
Yeah. The track's really nice, actually. So, like, don't worry about driving your car down some, dirt road of death. It's really nice surface. There's concrete rails, side rails. There's no grass between the lanes or anything like that. So the track's really nice, but yeah, this is a legit no prep. I've been to some no preps and I've seen them drag the track. None of that's going to happen here. This is water burnout only, and yeah, that's it.
And I imagine that's going to get kind of tough because what's probably going to happen. The track's going to keep coming around, isn't it? Is it going to get better as more and more passes get put on. I mean, that could be kind of neat.
Actually, it seems like when you race there the day after diesel drags or something like that, the track sucks.
Yeah,
all the trucks just.
But this is actually got to sit there like an actual street would. The only thing it's missing is the cars driving over it. No, that's going to be pretty neat. When are you going to have this event, and how do they find out more about it? Because this is when you say up north, you're talking about up north in like Indiana area, correct?
Indiana, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep, yeah. The track is actually Lyons Raceway, and that's in Lyons, Indiana. It's in about an hour southwest of Indy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's May 19th and 20th. The 19th is a Friday, and that Friday night we're having one class. It's called the hard tire class, and basically this is a class set up for like bolt-on style cars with real street tires. Like drag radials won't fly, ET streets won't fly. This is like bolt-on the Pep Boys and go. So that class alone will pretty much destroy the surface and remove any rubber that is there left over from 10 months ago. So it's going to be nice and bare for Saturday. And Saturday we've got 3 classes. We've got True Street, Small Tire, and Big Tire. And True Street's for like pretty hot, like maybe a 800 to 1,000 horse car. DOT drag radial only, so like a 275 Pro would be perfect. You got to have registration and insurance, charging system, cooling system, and stock suspension all the way around.
Nice. So it's a real. That's how it should be. And I wanted to talk to Scott, and I'll talk to Chris too about. I was thinking about a class that I think would be. Well, go ahead. Finish what you're saying. I'm not going to hijack you. I'm all revved up over here.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead, because this is going to get into a whole nother subject, and I'm going to drag everybody away.
All right. So Small Tire, you've seen like COTS up in like Milwaukee area.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what we're shooting for here. We got stock front suspension and up to like a 28 or a 10.5 or a 275 radial, and then no tube chassis cars basically. And Big Tire, it's wide open. It's got to be a door car, and that's it. You know, just bring a lot of power and hope you brought enough, because we got a $5,000 payout on that class.
Wow. Now, is this because I always get a kick out of the Stevie Jackson guy? Mm-hmm. Always talking about it. This is a quarter mile, and we don't run them. The only place, and so is this an eighth or a quarter?
It's all eighth mile.
All eighth mile.
And mostly for safety reasons. We don't want guys going $190, on a no prep. That's a little insane. So eighth mile stuff's a little safer.
Okay.
It's easier on the equipment too, I mean, you're going to win by the eighth mile. I don't know. I actually like eighth mile racing. This is Scott. So yeah, I like the eighth mile stuff now. I
think I kind of like the eighth mile too.
Yeah.
Me personally.
Yeah. You can give a meter tune up on it and it'll survive. Whereas if you're a quarter mile racing, you're probably a little closer to the danger zone. But yeah, we have mostly quarter mile stuff up here. Eighth mile is starting to get a lot more popular, and I do like either one. But for a no prep, eighth mile is definitely a better way to go, I think.
Now, Chris, are you going to be racing at this event, at the Neglection event?
I haven't figured out if my balls have dropped yet. I don't know. I told Adam and Nick that I'll probably just help out. And no prep stuff, I don't know. I've never done one personally. I've been to them. They're a hell of a lot of fun to go watch.
They are.
Don't know if I'm actually going to enter in and do it.
I mean, I don't know how much we can talk about your truck. I got to visit. I was at Lingenfelter when Chris had his new combo on the dyno. Was that 6 months ago or something? And I actually got to poke around a little bit. I mean, that truck is well equipped for no prep stuff. That's as much as I'm going to say. I don't want to ruin anything for Chris. I don't know how much he wants to talk about his truck, but very neat stuff. If you go to Drag Week, go take a peek under the hood and see what he's got going on there.
Yeah, we will. We'll definitely do that. I thought Chris was going to comment on that, but he's tight-lipped about it. Come on, Chris.
I'm not going to ruin it for you,
Give
Chris.
some shit up, or we're just going to punt you.
If people want to know anything about my combo, just ask. I don't hide anything.
I want to go on record that he was on. We talked on the phone. Anything that I wanted to know, he'd help with, which is really beneficial because. I mean, I have experience in certain areas. Tom has experience in certain areas, and people like Scott have experience, and Chris with this whole drag week ordeal.
Well, Chris has experienced winning
Yes.
So,
which means he has all of us covered in every one of our particular segments.
pretty
frankly.
much.
Yep. So I
For now.
like I said, I know this isn't going to be easy, but let's talk about this, Chris. What have you broken? Like, what have you had a, oh shit, moment at Drag Week?
Believe it or not, I've been really lucky all 3 years that I've done. The worst thing I broke was in 2013. I broke an exhaust hanger, and I had to climb under there with a piece of coat hanger to fix it. Honestly, I have not broke anything on Drag Week.
So you're able to drive all that way.
Actually, what's that?
You're able to drive all that way and not break something. Mind-boggling.
Yeah. Last year was pretty rough on me. I mean, I broke pretty much everything in the whole car prior to Drag Week. I went through a couple motors, transmission, rear end. I mean, you name it, I broke it last year. So
Wow.
I was about ready to throw in the towel in August. I lifted and torched the head at Joliet at an MCA race, and I was so pissed off, man. I mean, I was just steaming mad because every single time I get this thing fixed, I'd go out to the first race, and boom, I'd break it.
You have an LS in the thing?
Yeah, it's a 6-liter.
Iron block.
Yep, yeah.
What head studs you got in it?
The regular, like the cheap 11 millimeter ARPs, like not the space age ones or whatever, just the cheap regular ones.
Okay.
Duration at 650, 200, and
It's a little itty bitty cam, man. It's
yeah, we kind of figured.
the 6-liter is actually a little bit bigger than the first 2 years I did Drag Week. I had a stock bottom and 5.3. Like just cam and head studs and valve springs was really the only mod. And that cam was puny. 224, 230, like
Wow.
600 lift. And the 6-liter, it's got forged internals, and I threw a little bit bigger cam in it. It's still pretty small, though, 231, 237.
but hold up. Forged internals, like, was this like a stock motor?
The 6-liter?
Yeah.
No. It's got a good rotator in it.
All right.
But the years prior that I ran Drag Week was a bone stock, rotator.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
Didn't you hold the stock bottom end record for a while, Chris? What was the story there?
Yeah, actually in 2015. Yeah, 2015. It went 819 at 168. And that truck's really not all. I mean, it's kind of light, but not like crazy. It's not feather light. It weighed 3250.
oh,
That's heavy.
yeah. Well, to me, that's like I'm looking at that and saying that's a nice number because I mean I know I ain't going to be there.
I mean, that's not a gutted. There's a lot of trucks way, like his that are a lot lighter than that, 300 pounds lighter than that.
I actually have somebody on hold. It was not Luke.
Oh,
This is a guy another guy who's going to be tough. Hang on a minute here. Is this Jason?
This is Jason.
hey man,
What's up, man?
how are you?
What's up, Chris?
What?
Pretty good.
Why do I have a feeling that this is going to be like a constant, people calling in with a little bit of pushing the buttons?
I got to say one thing. I saw a car just like yours, Jay. Can I call you Jay, or do you prefer Jason?
Yeah.
All right. So I was in Bradenton this week, and I went to one of the test days on Thursday, and there was a black and white car just like yours, and it was fairly badass, and I was kind of jealous. Then that's when I called Mike and said, "Man, we ought to get a wagon." But we're kind of committed with this Corvette deal. But nice car. The guy couldn't get it to work or anything. But, turbo car, well done, looked like yours, but it was white with black accents. Very nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I had to call because you had Scott on and Chris on. So,
And Jason's my buddy.
You and John coming for me?
me and John fight every day at work, so that's going to be one battle.
Oh yeah, you're right there, man. Would you go like
Well, I
40s?
haven't
You went like
been,
40s or 50s just like a week ago, right?
Yeah, I went a 54 the first time out, so.
Nice.
And I want to point out that Jason, just like the rest of these guys, when I talked to him in the very early stages of this, everybody is super helpful.
Yep.
I mean, and that's really a nice deal. I mean, it's really good, and I thank everybody for that. But yeah, this is going to be. You know what I wonder? One thing that I thought was kind of interesting. It doesn't seem like there was any delineation when you signed up what classes filled up when. So I mean, like, could you end up with 150 people in 850 and like 10 people in another class. Really?
Yep.
Yeah, you might change your class at the last second when you find out the certain class is light or slow or whatever. You might class up, or there's a lot of kind of people get there and decide, okay, I got a better chance in this class and I can fit, so I go.
All right, that's something we're probably going to look at then. All right, Jason, do me a favor, hang out on hold for a few minutes because we've got a little bit of an echo going on, so I'm going to see if I can sort that out. Hang on.
Yes, sir.
Sir, listen to that, sir. I don't know if it's
he's a good
I don't know if it's Chris or it's Jason, or it might just be having all these people, together. I don't know.
Is this the first all these
I
people
don't
on?
hear it on my end, so
You don't hear it? Yeah, it's feeding back through. It might even be Chris. It might be your phone. I don't think it was, because that's what Tom heard it before. It's not the end of the world.
No.
I mean, we shoot for perfection, but it very
rarely
happens.
get it. Yeah.
Rarely happens.
Yeah. If it's not that, it's one of us leaving our phone on or whatever. Anyway. All right. So I guess I can't ask any really pointed questions.
Listen, the guy just told me like what size cam he had in it.
I know.
I mean, so like I said, I don't think there's any magic here.
No,
I mean, there's
car's
really not.
it's got to run a number. It's got to be consistent. It's got to be a bracket car.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be.
You got a single turbo or twins?
I've got twin singles. We'll call it that.
Twin singles.
Interesting. That's like the wise guy comment. I like it.
They're actually Borg Warner S366s.
Okay.
I've had them on there this is like the 6th season I've had them on there. Cast wheel, nothing special, like just the cheap turbos that literally anybody can just order off the line.
Yeah, but 2 of them.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, so that thing will go fast when it needs to.
Oh man, it moves. It does real good. Yeah.
How fast?
My approach is a little different. It's E85, non-intercooled, no methanol, no nothing like that. So just plain old hot air.
That is so funny. We were just talking about that. No, we were talking about that last night. If you were using the 85 all time,
can you run E98? We were going to check the rules, but is E98 legal?
Methanol's illegal, so I don't see any problem with E98 other than availability. You're going to have to carry it with you everywhere. And honestly, for an 850 class, you don't need that. I mean, you can get by with E85.
Yeah. I don't know what the rules are as far as getting fuel so you have to run you got to bring what you run.
Or be able to get it.
Bring what you run or just find what you need on the route.
Chris, do you run on gasoline on the route down the highway? A lot of my other customers do that. I know you've got his fuel system is awesome. You should talk about the octane on demand stuff that you're doing, but I'm just curious, what fuel do you run down the highway?
I run E85 as long as I can find it. There's been a couple instances where we can't find a station, and I'll just pump in some 87 octane and cruise on down the road.
Adjust the tune on the fly, right?
Blow the motor up.
Yep.
Actually, I don't have an ethanol content sensor, so I have to peck away at the keyboard at the gas station to get it in line. But most of the time I do a real good job of trying to find E85. My navigator, he does double duty. I pretty much just give him my phone. He finds the 85 on my phone and then plugs in the address on his, and it works well.
I was trying to explain to these guys the importance of the navigator.
Hey, so
yeah.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say, so is it illegal to send fuel ahead?
To have somebody send fuel for you?
Yeah.
No, for us to...
That wouldn't fly.
No. Yeah, you can't do that.
Okay. No, man.
No, you got to bring it with you.
I'm asking.
You got to bring it with you. You got to be able. Even I know that, Tom.
I didn't know that. I don't read the rules.
I listen. I'm a rules guy.
I
so
know.
I poured through. I poked at everything. I mean, see, we talked about this, and I don't think you've done it as much as I do. Although you gave me some tips on the trade show stuff, like why do you take your clothes to the cleaners? Do them at the hotel room. Get your suits done there. I even let you borrow my suit roll up.
Yeah, you did for Dubai last year.
Yes,
Yep.
quite an invention,
And it worked. Yeah.
But like I ship my clothes to the hotel. I mean, I do all sorts of crazy shit to avoid me. So I mean, I'm a logistics guy. Whatever I can do. Yeah. All that's out of the question. You got to be able to get the stuff, or you got to have it with you.
Okay. Well, we can do that.
I think so.
Yep.
Now, you know what I don't understand?
Headache. I mean, if your trailer is like real big, then go ahead and bring yourself 40 gallons of E98 or whatever you want. But if you've got a trailer that's kind of small and you want to pack a bunch of tools or spare parts, just run on the 85. You're going to find it everywhere. We're in the Midwest, so.
I need a spark plug wrench and some plugs. That's gonna be
and something to change tires.
Something to change tires.
These guys are confident, Chris. Let me tell you what. I'm sitting in a room of confidence right now.
Well, it's not so much confidence; it's excessive laziness. That
We're not going to work on shit. This is what you guys don't understand. We'll watch.
I'm going, I mean, you're older than 50, but I mean, it almost came out of my mouth and I almost fell over. I'm approaching 50.
You're going to be 50 when we go.
No, I'm not.
Fuck you.
Why are you popping another year on me?
I don't know. Because I felt like it. Fuck you too, Tad.
I'm not looking forward to rolling around on the ground to fix something. Yeah. And some of the stuff is, and I mean, I'm sure Chris will say it, some of the stuff on a Corvette's a problem, to do on the road.
Bring rain gear and bring lights. A small generator, lots of lights, and bring your rain gear, that kind of stuff.
He must have hit the pipe or something in the driveway. Either that or is that one side's not working again or something?
Because what's going to happen is you're going to get out there and you're telling yourself, oh, if it really breaks, I'm just going to drop out or whatever. No, you're not. What you're going to do is like everybody else, and you're going to keep your foot on the gas till it won't go any farther, and you're going to literally run yourself ragged because that's what everybody around you is doing. I don't know anybody that just went casually to drag week and just dropped out and went out like a bitch.
They just don't know us.
Scott, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. Chris, this is for posterity. They're recording this. This could be the greatest thing ever to play back.
Oh, yeah. Could you imagine the hatred we're going to get? But the worst thing's going to be we got to make the first pass, something breaks. Well, but where did Mike go? He's already on a plane going home.
Yeah. But do we care about the hatred?
Nah, because there'll be someone in the crowd spectating who says, hey, man, I got your spare parts. I got a car out in the parking lot. Just a couple hours worth of work. We get you back on the road, and you're going to be like, okay, let's do it.
But wait, Mike. Yeah. If the A body with the 5.3 amazingly shows up, would you let it just continue going and leave you and beat you?
Oh, listen, Scott, and nobody seems to understand this. I'm really not about working on this thing. I mean, look, if the alternator goes bad,
we're going to fix it. Yeah.
Of course I'm going to put an alternator on. If the torque tube has like a drive shaft failure or a coupler no, right in a trailer, right in wherever, roll off, AAA, quadruple A, whatever it takes.
It's many A's it takes.
Yes. Let me tell you a story. Jeff McConnell, a customer of mine, the small block naturally aspirated record holder for years up until just last year. He's like, he had a wheelie issue and busted things up when he landed to the point the car couldn't continue on. And it was then that he remembered that he was like 700 miles away from his trailer and his support vehicle. That alone becomes a logistics nightmare to turn back around. I got to go back and get the trailer and the tow vehicle. Oh my God, I got to rent a car, but I got to go find the car rental place because I'm at some track in Butthole, Oklahoma, and the car rental place, my phone doesn't work out here. It's the story of your life. I guarantee it.
I could imagine. And I mean, honestly, like if something breaks that's kind of reasonable, of course we're going to fix it.
Sure.
I mean, but
even if it's unreasonable, man, you can call the guy who works on Corvettes all the time. I'll come and help you.
Yeah. Said to me, look, I'm stuck. Come get me.
Yeah.
And Tom will be at the track. Hey, you just left. Come on, get here.
We had a poor guy in our group last year. First time he did drag week, we told him how cool it was. So he enters in and does it. And we pulled, I shouldn't say we, but he and a couple guys that kind of caravan with him, they pulled that transmission out every single night. I mean, every day, sometimes 2 times in one day.
Oh.
Inverter issues, trans issues. They rebuilt the trans twice on the side of the road. I mean, and he got 3rd place in his class. So
my God.
Don't give up with some big hard problem, because it can be doable. There's a lot of guys that
hey, one of my good buddies, the Real Street Super last year, burnt the head, took it to Indy Cylinder, had it welded, valve jobbed, everything.
Those guys are awesome.
Put it back in, and
I remember that one.
Yeah. And they could have won the thing. I think they hurt the motor enough that they couldn't seal up anymore.
Were those the guys that were running the fuel pump with the zip tie around the trigger on the battery drill or whatever?
It could have been them. Jay is a resourceful and very smart dude.
I thought they fixed the car. I thought they finished.
Yeah, they did. But I think they hurt a cylinder and it wouldn't run the number anymore. But they finished. It just wasn't as fast as it needed to be.
180 cubic inches. Remember that.
Yeah, you're not kidding. But you see that I'm not even going to get into it again because
I want to change the subject because, Chris, you got to realize I'm sitting here in a room with these guys, and it's at the end of a really long gravel road, and it's dark outside, and I was like, man, you're going to have a hard time, and immediately got jumped on by 3 angry Jersey guys. Let's change the subject.
Oh, like it's that bad. Come on, dude.
It's all right.
If we wanted to exhibit pain, you'd have felt it already.
All right, let's see if we can get Jason back and see if his phone was better or whose it was. Hang on a minute here. Yo, man, you back?
Yes, sir.
Oh, still got an echo.
Yeah.
So, Jason, turn your ear volume down as low as you can tolerate it on your phone.
There you go.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, much
Yeah.
better. Thanks,
Yeah.
boss.
All right, good deal. So, Jason, you've been on here before. How much shit did you break? I know we went over it quickly, but what are the things? Because you were doing the regular 5.3 kind of stock, engine route, and now that's changed because everybody laughs about your LS shaped hood.
Yeah, the intake compression, yeah.
So,
I broke an ignition switch year before last, and then I had some injector O-rings pop out because my boy John needed to borrow my injectors, and it was my bad putting it all back together. 3
Okay.
o'clock in the morning.
Oof.
see, like ignition switch could certainly go bad in a Corvette,
Sure.
but there's a million of them running around and it ain't going bad. And it's not like it's a 1972 car.
Yep.
See, I'm really hoping that those kind of, screw ups don't happen.
But if they do, there's nothing we can do about it. Just like there's nothing we can do about that echo.
The simple screw-ups happen than the big ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
We got to try to prevent the big one, which we will. And whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Well, we're also, I have every intention. The car is going to be in Florida first.
Mhm.
There's going to get passes put on it down there.
Mhm.
Then it's going to come up here. It's going to get passes put on. It might get done with the passes and maybe for safety's sake should have the trans gone through. I don't know. But I'm going to put time on this thing.
Sure.
That is a good idea. Let me tell you what. James McIntyre, a customer of mine, and Jeff McConnell both. Well, McConnell not so much. He's pretty good at doing it, not being so prepared. But McIntyre, I'd come down to Kansas City with him on a weekend, and we'd go ride around in his car.
Hang on a minute.
Go ahead.
Jason, call back. 'Cause
Mike dumped you.
I was trying to, and you know what, Chris? Actually, it's your phone. Can you call right back too? Just try to get this cleaned up.
Yep.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
Now, let me tell you about McIntyre while you're waiting to dial them in. He's a pediatrician, and so he drives that car on his rounds. And he knows that the track stuff is the easy part. You don't got to prep much for that. We all know how to get a car ready to go make passes. It's knowing that thing's going to tolerate like 80-mile legs, and driving that long. So you really want to get, maybe your car is more of a street car or whatever, but his car was a, 670 cubic inch aluminum semi-Hemi.
See, and I'm going to tell, and Tom is like, zip it, like you don't want to talk about nothing. He's like, don't talk about it. Quiet. Your ideas. Keep
If you're
going to
say something that I should tell you to shut up, then just shut the fuck up.
I don't think I'm going to say anything. It's 6 liter.
Right?
Oh man,
Shut up.
sorry.
With a big crank, factory head casting.
Really good rod bolts.
Yeah, really good rod bolts. Balanced, I might add, Alan.
How are you tuning this thing?
Magically.
No.
We're not going to talk about tuning.
Now with tuning, I think we've got that handled. I believe.
I know a guy.
You know a guy that knows a guy.
Knows a guy.
Yeah. We're going to be okay.
And like I said, many passes and like quite a few miles. I'm going to drive this thing, all over the place.
Hopefully all summer.
The Sonic.
Oh yeah.
Break some shit.
Oh no.
Break that fucking ignition switch.
No, I'm going to drive the thing.
No, that's good. You got the right plan.
That's how you find out the shit that's going to break is you got to drive it.
Yep.
So, 6 liter motor, I think the block should be good enough. I think the valve train should be stable enough because I was never intending to lean on it. The engine builder side of me wants the most intense camshaft in the world I could possibly get.
Of course.
But I know we don't need to do that.
Right.
And, so if I was going to use a solid, I would probably drop back to like what we'd use, like say in the big block modifieds, as far as lobes go. But I don't think they need to be anything like that. I really don't. If you picked up 20 from a camshaft, you've got a boost knob.
Right.
What the hell?
Right.
You
crazy.
That's exactly the right
Yeah,
point.
and we will be running hydraulic. We'll have that conversation later. 'Cause
Yes.
I've done that research today.
I think that should be fine.
Yeah, it will be fine.
So.
I know another guy that we know. Know a guy.
Okay. We do know some people, which
I'd
hopefully
hope.
will help. All right, we got Jason back. Hopefully everybody's phones are good now.
Yeah, it sounds perfect now.
Good.
Jason?
That's a good plan on
Yeah.
the camshaft and valve train too, because I mean you don't need anything that's going to beat the shit out of all the valve train. You can get by with some puny little wimpy cam. It's going to make power.
Yeah, I mean
Turn boost up.
the circle track stuff that we did was like big block stuff with like 1/8s and 1/9s, you know, and back then for the circle track stuff, people looked at us like we were crazy because we had like 360 on the seat. People were like, oh my God, you can't do that.
Right.
But, you know, in fairness, a lot of those things, like all Brian's motors had Jessel keyways.
Yep.
You know, so they were really the right deal in the valve train side.
Sure.
So to me, if you can't go all the way that direction, you don't even go down that path. And I just don't see any reason to do it. Like even Anthony, I was talking to Anthony. He's like, dude, you should put a solid roller in it. No, I don't think we need it.
No, really don't.
Nope.
All right. Well,
And while you don't need keyways anymore, I mean, the new Isky stuff, the Bush stuff is apparently really good. But there's still no need. There's just no need.
the keyways are so cool.
Oh, I know. They're badass.
They're just, and you can just
like
make the push rods perfectly straight.
know.
I just love everything about them.
Well, yeah, but you're talking about different animals too, man. You know, the geometry of an LS is slightly better than a big block Chevy.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point. And I've never put together an LS motor.
Yeah.
I hope a lot of it's the same. I mean, Jeff's going to be my guinea pig. If his shit blows up, then I'll just send it someplace else to get it.
Feels good to be here, huh?
Jeff, your shit ain't going to blow up.
All right. So, what other interesting shit have you guys had break?
You talking to Jason?
I'm going
or
to
me?
break
Either one of you two.
heart. I'm going to break Chris and John's heart.
Oh,
I like that.
I just wanted to say this. Me and Scott just became friends, so I figured I had to call real quick and say hi.
It's good to actually hear your voice, Jason. It's pretty cool, man. We've traded jabs back and forth on social media for a long time, but I messaged him the other day and I'm like, listen, I just want to make sure you know that I very much respect the work you put in. I mean, dude, I'm just a tuner. I stroke keys and I tell somebody to change plugs. But guys like you and Chris, you guys put the whole package together. So that is absolutely outstanding. So no matter how much shit I give you on social media, don't worry, man. The respect is always there.
Yeah, I saw some shit going on. I'm like, is this real? Or
Oh yeah.
I didn't know where we were at here.
Hey Jay, one of our listeners from Australia is actually asking what cam you run. Are you willing to tell somebody what cam you got in your stuff? You don't have to. I'm legit. Guys from Australia listening live. Jay,
Who are you asking?
Jason.
Okay.
My cam's a 598 605. 232 236.
okay,
112.
okay. There you go, Aaron.
That's actually a little bigger than I thought it would be.
What about you, Chris? What for cam choice? Who do you picking your own cams? Have you done a lot of experimentation with that? Can you talk about that, or what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done, as much as I'd like, but I pick through some lobes that are. I pick comp lobes. I don't pick anything aggressive. I usually use HUC or LXL. Those are two that I really like. They're kind of mild lobes, but they seem to really, really work. I bought a used cam, years ago when I first started doing my 5.3, and it worked really well, and that's what kind of lobes it had, and that's kind of what I've stuck to, and it's worked really well.
Very
you know
cool.
how hard it is for a guy that's really into this to look at those, because I mean he's talking about the master list.
Yes.
And there's more than is on the master list. There's other things like what we were doing for some of the flat tap and stuff. There are other things. And you sit there and you will pour through it. Like me, I'll sit there for an hour and making notes and jotting stuff, and I keep sliding back to open faster, get to 200 faster, soft close. I mean, it'll make you nuts. So I have to put all that aside while picking a camshaft. Like, I agree with everything he said. I know exactly the lobes he's talking about because I just looked at the Masters over this past weekend.
Yep.
All right.
We'll be all right.
You got it's a trade-off, like is 15 horse really worth picking up when you got to replace all the valve train, every 2 days, forget that.
Do you spin your stuff?
I'd rather have something really mild.
Have you had your stuff on the Spintron?
No.
Just curious.
There was another kind of thing that was rattling around in my head. We had the discussion about the compression side of things.
Yep.
Chris, you first, compression wise, got a feeling?
I like, between 9 and 10 for a street car on E85.
Okay. What if it was
really good?
What if it was part-time E85?
As opposed to, what was the other fuel?
93.
Yeah, like just 93 pump.
And are you going to try to race it on 93?
No, but just like for a fast street car, what would you do?
This is after drag week when he's, we're done doing what we're doing. This is legit going to be his killer street car.
Yeah, just turn it down. If it's got an intercooler on it, just turn down the boost and, adjust the tune a little bit to quit, not be so aggressive.
Okay.
Yeah, you can make some power on 93.
Okay.
But you're saying still leave it at between 9 and 10. I mean, would you move towards 9 because it's going to be running 93, or do you care? And it's just preference.
Pretty safe, I think.
I'm sorry?
9 to 10 is pretty safe even on 93 for the types of cars we're dealing with. If you've got catalytic converters and everything else on there, then yeah, it's going to need to be addressed. But for the types of cars that we're dealing with on drag week, yeah, you can make some power on 93. Now, if you want to go run 25 pounds of boost and, a whole bunch of timing, then I definitely don't do that. But yeah, if you want to make 700 horse, 93 is fine.
Okay. Jason, what's your thought too? If you want to give it up, you don't have to. Don't feel like you're under,
Let me clear up my cam information because I had to go back and look. It's 605, 598, 226, 231 on a 113.
Okay.
My compression ratio is exactly 10 to 1.
Okay. Now you got both you guys. Obviously, these are conventional aluminum heads, right? Like nobody's running the iron head.
No, it's aluminum head.
Okay. All right. Because when you're the engine guy, you're always thinking like, if you had an iron head, it acts like 1 point more or 1 point less if you have aluminum head. You got to know what happens. See, I've always been the lower compression guy. I know going from 9 to 10 in a normally aspirated motor, you should pick up probably 12, 15, somewhere around there. What nobody could ever answer for me is if you have the additional compression in a boosted situation, if you took a point of compression out, but have the boost to make up to get you back to that point, aren't you working out as a way a net positive from the 12 or 15 you lost? Scott's given the wiggled hand thing.
I really want to know what Chris thinks on that.
Well, it really depends on how you're boosted too. I mean, there's probably no benefit with a supercharger to go higher because
all the compression, the thing's going to take longer to spool up for a turbo car.
That's where I was going.
It's going to make less power per pound of boost. So I like compression.
Me too.
I think the days of 8.5 to 1 are over. And if anybody's building one of those cars, in this day and age, or that engine in this day and age, I think they're kind of behind.
See, I read a thing about compression level and boost and reaction, and it's not like, we'd like to take the rule of thumb that if you made 500 and you put 14.7 cool, boost on it, and you had no parasitic or pumping losses, that you double your horsepower. So then theoretically, if you made 510 with compression, you would again double that. And I have read that that's not really the case, because what happens is I guess it's, probably somebody much smarter than I would be able to know exactly what I'm trying to say without me saying it. You have the cylinder pressure before your event, and if you remove some of that pressure pre-boost, you can use boost to fill that hole and get you back to that pressure level before ignition. And I would believe that you're actually burning a higher amount of air and fuel in that cylinder to bring you back to that point. Now, of course, there's got to be a right point. You can't say, well, look, we're going to make a 6 to 1 and use 900 pounds of boost. That's not going to work. So there's always a right place. And it
really, from what I see, and I see a lot of this stuff. It really does seem like 10 to 1 is like a magic number. I mean, I know there's LS stuff out there. You know, guys run at 12-1 with boost. I don't know why, but I know it happens. That can't be the right way to go. You know, the right number, but it works.
Well, having a discussion with Anthony, one of the things he said is that, you know, it is kind of hard on a thing to spool it. And he's like, you'd like everything you can have on your side to get the motor to spool, because the whole time you're sitting there trying to bring it up on a converter, you're heating up the converter, you're potential ballooning the converter. A lot of things can go wrong during that time.
And
so you'd like to spend as little time there as possible.
It's all bad.
All bad.
Yep.
I've actually data logged 300 degrees Fahrenheit per second rise in oil temps on certain cars. Now that was obviously a Pro Mod style car, radio versus the world car, but we actually watched the trans fluid temp rise for a brief period, 300 degrees Fahrenheit in 1 second.
You know, you probably got to get into the point too, where the amount of volume that the transmission pump moves through from a cooling aspect, that you're not doing enough exchanges to be able to keep the heat out of the converter.
You may not have enough fluid to even do the exchange anyway.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to make myself nuts.
Yeah, you are.
Another point to bring up on the compression deal for cars like we're talking about, drag week style cars. I think, you know, the enough compression to make the thing get into boost and have decent power out of boost is good. But let's say like you were building a limited turbo car, right, where you cannot have any bigger than a 76 millimeter, an 80 or 85 or whatever. At that, Ultra Street especially, in that case, man, throw the compression at it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can only make so much power with that turbo, so, I mean, you're going to get closer and closer to the edge, and the thing's going to get harder and harder to tune. But
that makes sense.
To be able to compete with the other classes. So.
I tuned on my first Ultra Street car this year, and it was a nitrous car, but holy shit, those guys, every knob is turned to 11 or 10.5.
Yeah.
And compression is one area. That
makes sense. If you have the availability to make more boost, compression matters less.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that turbo sizing too, if you were, I don't know, let's say this, 400-inch motor was not going to make 1,500. It was going to make 2,500. Obviously, much larger turbos. Got to be much harder to spool. Aren't these turbochargers? And I mean, like, this is, you heard me talking we talked to Bill from Bullseye and we talked to somebody else, and they're like, yeah, but put this kind of housing on it so you can upgrade. No, this is built to do this. This is all it will ever be. Well, put the bigger turbo on it. Is the smaller turbo going to be more responsive in spooling? Yes. Okay. Will the smaller turbo make the amount of, power and airflow and everything we need? Yes. Well, then why would I want the other one?
I'll tell you why. Hold on. Because you're talking peak power, and you got to think peak versus average power. Average power is what gets you down the track in the quarter mile, okay? Mm-hmm. So I see guys that are oversized on the exhaust side to make their big peak number that came off the dyno.
Right.
This is just me talking as a tuner, and I'm curious at Chris's impression of this, but I see guys where the first 50 or 60 feet out, the car's a turd because it really hasn't come on boost yet, even though it was able to quote-unquote spool. Mm-hmm. So the problem is they made a big peak number for that last 100 feet of the 8th mile, which is great, but it's the power you can make average down the run that you got to remember. So you got to think about that stuff.
Well, wouldn't smaller units be better for average power than the larger units?
It just depends, because it's harder just to say smaller turbo, bigger turbo, right?
Yeah,
you got the exhaust side, and you got the the compressor side. I mean, there's a lot to turbo science, and I'm just really starting to learn that stuff myself. So.
Well, if we have properly sized turbos that will make the power that we're targeting, and
still spool
and spool, which is what we're targeting, we're going to be fine.
My fix for a slow spooling turbo setup is a 50 shot. Works great.
It does work great.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I just tell people, just put the 50 on it, you're fine. I mean,
are you allowed to do that?
Some places.
Well, drag week. Isn't drag week, is it single power adder?
I don't think so. I know some other guys that have done it openly.
Probably do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's just another thing.
Shut up, or we're going to give Freiberger ideas.
Yeah, he's taking notes. Okay, we got to, and watch this Mike guy, make sure he's got no FedEx clothes going any hotels. Yeah, I could see all that.
Yeah. Converter and tune is going to be pretty important there,
They know a guy, apparently.
Have a huge exhaust side, relatively speaking, and I've got them to work really well with a 5.3. So converter and tune, and it'll help. Yeah, and yes, you have to get to the point where the turbo is responsive. If you say, hey, I'm going to leave it 8 pounds, And just like Scott said, I've done that before, and the thing's a total turd for 30 feet, and then it'll wake up. Well, then guess what? You got to get the thing spinning faster, because once you get to that point, it's going to be way more responsive, and it's going to be able to react real quick.
Well, I would think that probably some of that happens. I mean, and I'm trying to put into words what I could envision happening. Scott, if you released a trans brake and your turbocharger is, let's say, a little, like you said, quote unquote, spooled, your turbocharger is a little on the big side. You've got your intake tracked pressurized to X. You let go of the button, the engine increases in RPM, and it draws the airflow now comes up.
Right.
The turbo, it's like kind of like the rubber band effect. Like it goes boom, boom, and then it just
there's an equilibrium. Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, so as soon as it swallows the air, it's also going to be exhausting more heat energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going to drive the hot side. And the big issue there is, are you flowing enough, hot exhaust or heat energy out the exhaust to where the turbo is responsive?
Right.
It's not just responsive on the compressor side; it's responsive on the turbine side as well.
Yeah, but like everything, there's even though it's a smaller delay, you're still spinning up something
Right.
mechanical. So when you let the brake go, and the boost is now right now, the engine can say accelerate. It's kind of like we talked about with the top alcohol cars. What some of the effects they'll have.
I think that's the phenomenon. I think you're right, because the engine takes off, it swallows that 8 pounds of air, but it really needed to have 10 pounds on the manifold side to be responsive on the hot
To have
side.
enough exhaust
Yes.
to keep the whole
Yeah.
sequence moving nicely.
Yeah, we've all seen that. I mean, I saw Chris at the Ducks race here a couple of weeks ago and talked to them for a while, which was really cool. It was nice to get to see you guys down there and do so well. Except he was the guy in his class was just on a tear, Lyle. But I mean, it was still fun to see you guys down there taking a swing at it. But yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of cars down there that weren't just quite dialed in right, and then you watch the ones that are dialed in. And I'll tell you what, some of these turbo guys, even though they put the weight on them, they're starting to get that first 60 feet figured out.
All right, so I don't know which one of you guys wants to answer this, but one of our guys in our chat room wants to know if it's any more difficult to tune twins than a single. And Chris, you're probably the best guy to answer because you have 2 singles, right?
Yeah, that's right. Twin singles. I've thought the oxygen sensor, basically, like, so your wideband rating. A lot of the ECUs have, quote unquote self-tuning capability. I've noticed on a single, if you leave the self-tuning on or learn on, I think the singles will learn easier than the twins, from my experience. But my experience is pretty limited. I've only tuned, maybe 40 or 50 cars, and most of them are LS combos. So
I'm Scott. I don't consider that limited at all. I think Chris is an awesome tuner, but I would agree with you. It's funny. I'm thinking back. I'm like, I have kind of seen that phenomenon. There's usually less transport delay on a set of twins on the exhaust. Transport delay is the time it takes from the exhaust gas to exit the chamber to where it gets to the sensor. So typically there's a little more travel on a single setup, but I prefer tuning a single sensor on the. I either want one sensor on all 8 cylinders or 8 sensors on 8 cylinders. And with turbocharger combos, it's really, really hard to do individual O2s per cylinder. But honestly, I think, my opinion, very little difference tuning the singles or twins. There's probably more of a concern in maintaining. You got 2 wastegates, there's more pneumatics going on for the controls. So I personally prefer a set of singles, but that's just me tuning. I'm not the guy that has to fabricate the crossover and all that junk. Chris does it all.
Mike, you with us?
Yeah.
All right.
Listen,
Don't lose me.
I'm just the guy hanging back saying,
Me too.
I'm just listening.
All right.
So it's all good.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I could barely tune into the radio, so I'm just listening.
Now, you're still running a single, right? You didn't go to a twin, Jason?
No, I just changed turbos. I went to Precision 88, 84, smaller exhaust housing. It was free. I got it from John, so that's why I got it.
Okay. Okay. And both you guys got registered? No sweat?
yeah. Yep.
There's a lot of sweat. Chris, John, and James have the luxury of being top 3, so they get the week early registration. I'm over here, like, pressing to the max. My wife actually is the one that got me in.
Nice.
Good girl.
Very good girl.
I hope you bought her roses or something. Candy, both.
Trust me, she knows how excited I was.
Good. Good for you.
All right. Well, I mean, I think we learned some stuff.
Hell yeah, we did.
And, I got to tell you, Jason, I got to have you back on, for one time to catch up with all the stuff that went on with your car, because some of the stuff, and it was funny. You got to love people, man. He had a meth problem.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Because, and, of course, all the memes come out, guys with teeth all messed up. Oh, it's just awesome. So we got to have you back on to talk about that whole ordeal.
We just got to talk about the hood impression.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was awesome.
Like a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
Yeah, it was good. All right. Well, Jason, thanks very much. I'm going to be talking to you at some point. I've got a couple things I want to talk to you about. So, all right.
Yeah, I want to make sure that everybody heard it here first. It's going to be me first, Chris second, and John third.
Whoa. We're not even in a run.
No, we're broken, dude.
Fuck.
We're broken.
All right. That's the last time he's on the show.
All right.
Hey, thanks for having me. I didn't want to interrupt. When I saw that Scott and Chris were going to be on, I had to call, some guys that I admire.
You're good, man. Anytime.
Yeah, man, it was good to hear from both you guys.
I got to ask you one thing. A guy wants to know about the hubcaps.
I'm getting there. I actually do have another set of wheels, but I'm getting there.
Okay. All right. All right, man.
All right, guys.
Thanks. See you
Later.
Yep, thanks.
Bye. Take care. All right, man.
See ya.
He's an example of the good people. that
Yeah,
do
no
this.
doubt.
He
They're all
really
good
is.
people.
Very
Yeah.
good kid.
They're all good people.
Till we get there.
No,
Yeah, I was gonna
I'm going
say,
to
you
make
haven't
sure
seen
that
us yet.
I'm going to make sure that Tom leaves the New Jersey behind.
Yeah, I will.
I can fit right in with the hillbillies.
I'll be all right.
I'll
Did
be
we
all right.
did we drop Chris off?
Nope, Chris is still
Oh,
here.
okay, never mind. Then we'll talk about him after he drops off.
And then the reason Chris is here is I want him to plug his racing event,
Sure.
so we get as
Yes.
many people as possible to support this event for him.
Yeah, I guess the best way to put this is if you guys are interested, or anybody's interested, just the place to go is visit our Team 260 Facebook page. We also have a website, team260racing.com. There's rules, events, shirts, what you can pre-register for racing. Everything you need to know is on there, and we've got a local series too. We've been doing this will be the third year we've done it, and so if you're around the Indy or Muncie area and you want to take your street car and do some heads-up racing, come out there, man. Once a month on a Friday night we go out there, and we've got classes for anybody, any car, and any experience level. Whether you're just getting started or you got a 1,500 horsepower car that you race regularly, come out, have a good time, and support it.
And I'm not trying to hate on NHRA, but this is what the sport needs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is exactly what the sport
No
needs.
doubt.
I mean, look at Duck's thing.
Did you see my dear NHRA picture?
No, I didn't see that. You'll have to send it to me.
No, they posted it on your page, but I took a panoramic picture from the stands after we got knocked out in the first round of X275.
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
God, I took a big panorama picture, and it was really neat. I mean, so there's dudes betting, the whole length of the track, dudes, there's money getting thrown down. Everybody's having a good time. Roughly a half of the crowd is locals or regionals guys. I would say they're like, yeah, we came in from Atlanta, or we came in from 2 hours away, or we came in from Jacksonville. I just kind of asked these guys, and all different races, all different creeds, all different whatevers. Everybody's there having a damn good time. It's a super classy event. The promoter, Donald Long, does a good job. But yeah, so I made this picture, and I said, dear NHRA, and posted up the picture. And immediately, I didn't want to name some names, but other industry guys came to like, Clark, you're going to get some phone calls on that deal. And I did. I got a couple of phone calls.
But it's true. NHRA has kind of dropped the ball on what people want to see and what they,
I said they need to hire Don Long and just pay him $1 million a year to tell them how to do the events. I mean, and he promotes the personalities. I mean, now I wasn't around in the 60s for NHRA, but I'm told that back then one cam company would take out an ad, a full page ad on Hot Rod Magazine to talk shit about another cam company, right? Well, there's something cool about that, and there's something nostalgic. That's kind of what he's leaning on, and it really works.
Yep. And well, so that's why plugging your event's important, because we really want these, I guess, quote unquote, grassroots events to work well.
I'm going to put something up on my Facebook page, because I really want people to support the 260 guys. Are just badass. They're all really cool.
Yeah.
So that's 260.com, right? Team
Team 260racing.com.
Racing.com.
Or our Facebook page, just Team 260.
Okay.
Got it. All right, Chris.
They even got me one of their shirts too. Tell your wife thanks for sending that shirt, Chris.
Tom, they've got shirts.
That was
I
cool.
know.
Yeah, no, I bought a shirt from them and I got it
Sore
just a
subject.
couple weeks ago. It was killer.
Fucking Tom.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, thanks, Chris. We'll be talking. Appreciate it. And if, like I said, as your event gets closer and things go, feel free to call in, give us, links, whatever for Facebook. We'll do whatever we can for you.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
All right, man.
See ya.
No
See you, buddy.
See ya.
All right. See you, Scott.
You know what sucks? In New Jersey.
Yep.
We've had so many area code changes. We couldn't be team whatever.
No, we wouldn't be that anyway.
I started.
We'd be like Team Exit 11 or something like that.
Yeah. Exit 11,
Yeah, 'cause
exit 11B,
Yeah.
toll booth 5.
That's how we
And
go.
it's not county out here, it's township, right?
We got everything.
we got everything.
counties,
You got
townships.
counties? Oh,
We got
okay.
everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Is this like your area where you're from?
It's rural where I'm at,
Yeah.
but like the roads and stuff around here, you can tell Columbus got here in 1492 and he planned the roads in 93. So, I mean, I don't know if it's a little more windy and older. You can tell there's older buildings and stuff out here, but
Yeah.
Well, we
I mean,
got
otherwise
Old
it's
York Road
rural.
right out here, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's nice though.
It is. And everybody. It's so funny because people, like I've said it before, people that come to New Jersey, they're like, "This is New Jersey."
Yeah,
And I'm like,
it's gorgeous out here, but the car scene is kick ass out here. I
Yep.
just love the car enthusiasts out here. It's so cool.
Well, I was just telling Mike this Wednesday we're having a pop-up meeting. There's supposed to be 400 cars showing up at a Babies R Us parking lot.
I got to tell you, I haven't seen the interest in cars as grow as much over the years as I have lately. I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah.
seems like something is happening.
Let's give Street Outlaws and 1320 Video and those guys credit. I mean, the guys that are actively promoting this stuff. I think, for me anyway,
That's a good point.
80% of the people showing up to my classes are like, dude, I want to know how to launch this car. I want to know about traction control. I want to know about power management. I want to know how to tune this thing so I don't break it every pass, that kind of stuff. I'm literally thinking about just starting to tell people, my class focuses on drag racing because I get like one road racer here or there, and they sit there and they're interested, but really it's all the drag racing guys now. And Grudge, no prep, local series stuff, not so much class racers.
Mhm.
And it's a regional thing for me. You go to Indianapolis and there's a ton of class racers there, but I can't get 10 people to show up at a class.
Yeah.
But you go to up here in New Jersey or Kansas City, and I mean, I'll sell them out in 5 minutes. So
Gotcha.
Well, post your deal. I mean,
talk about my deal.
plug your deal.
So Real Tuners, I have a Facebook page, and I actually will have a website as soon as I get home. It's ready to turn online, realtuners.com. But so I've got upcoming classes. March 1st and 2nd. Oh, what have I got here? Is that
Oh, no,
right on the weekend?
You wrote it.
March
Yeah.
11th. 417 Motorsports. That's this coming weekend, this Saturday and Sunday. April 1st and 2nd, I'm in Kansas City at Casey Max. April 8th and 9th, Travis Motorsports, just north of New Orleans, which is going to be pretty cool. That class is filling up really quick. April 22nd, I'm back in the 405, Oklahoma City. Lots of those classes go pretty well. I mean, that's an interesting class. You have some interesting visitors. A couple of Street Outlaws showed up at the last one, just friends I tuned with or whatever, told them to come and hang out. That was kind of a surprise for the other kids that came there that were absolutely new to tuning. They're like, oh my God, Tina Pierce just showed up here or whatever. But let's see. And then May 6th and 7th, I'm in Stanford, Kentucky at Shore Tuning, James Short's shop. Really, he's a really, really popular tuner. He's an interesting dude. He, I think at one point, and I don't know if it still stands, but at one point he had the quickest car mile per hour and ET record for stock computers, right? And I'm like the anti-stock computer. I'm the standalone Nazi or whatever. So, but he's actually a really good dude. Anyway, we're having a class at his shop, and then we're gonna schedule some more. Probably middle of May onward, we're gonna be back up here at Fonse.
All right.
We're talking about doing an advanced class, maybe.
Oh, that would be good. I
Yeah.
mean, I get to finally go down
Yeah,
there.
maybe I
Yeah.
can catch
Yeah.
a class this time.
Yep.
Tad,
Shut up.
you knew when you sat here in the podcast, just like we all did. Somehow or another, I got to remind you.
Yes.
He sat here.
Fudd was
Viper.
pretty funny because he looks at his phone at one point. He's like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Man, he's been calling me a bunch. He's
Yeah.
gonna give me a hard time because I never look at my phone."
Alan has, like I said before, he has this loose connection with his phone, and I mean, I think it's because he doesn't have shit to do.
Right.
Like he's never really.
I think it's because he's stupid.
Oh, come on!
I said that out loud.
Yeah, that
Damn it.
did make it over.
He did pretty good
Sorry
at the
about
class. I'll say that.
No, he's Alan's a good dude. He has the potential to be a smart dude. Oh,
He was taking a lot of notes on that car we were working on because that was a pretty
Yeah.
bitchin' little LS combo. Angel Roman, if you're out there listening, man, that was really cool. Thank you for bringing that beast.
Yeah.
That was really cool to bring to the class so guys could see something that was
yeah, and
kind
Alan,
of that level of
Alan
build.
raved about the car.
Yeah.
You know, so,
No, this guy knew what he was doing, man, because I'm used to the stock bottom end, stock head, stock everything else. I mean, this guy had some real smart dudes in his corner helping him pick parts, and that thing was making serious steam, laying down huge numbers on a Mustang dyno.
All right.
So
Very cool.
Yep.
All right. One thing we got is we got poor Jeff sitting in here with no microphone.
Yeah, Jeff. Sorry, man.
I'll trade seats if he wants.
We were going to.
Yeah, give him a few minutes so we can go over what his latest plans are here. And you know what else is happening? You're going to get Cletus's Subaru back.
Yeah, this week.
You're finally going to get down there and get the motor.
Yep, going to pick it up.
Did he charge you anything for delivery, or did you charge him anything for delivery?
No, of course not. Going to work that out.
I would have charged him.
Going to
something.
work it out in cheeseburgers.
Oh boy.
Yeah, give him something to take pictures of.
Yeah.
You know,
Jeffro, what's up?
Howdy.
So you're getting ready. You're really close now. Now you got a box full of parts. You got shiny pistons.
Yeah.
You looked at the pistons?
Yes, I did.
Are they purty?
They are.
They're going to be all right, man.
What do I got to know about this, Tom? Is it balanced?
It's an air pump.
Yeah, I know that. Is it balanced out of the box? Is it ready to go?
It is not balanced.
Are the rings gapped?
The rings are no. That's your job.
Okay. So balancing.
Actually, I got to look at it. This may be one of the kits that is balanced.
Okay.
Natively.
Okay. And this will bring his displacement to what? Because I wasn't. I mean, I was kind of involved in this, but you guys talked last, so I'm kind of out.
416,
415.
415,
415. Okay.
Yeah. 415 point.
What's his bore size?
4065.
Oh, so it's the same shit that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
He's
but
got
it's gonna
aluminum.
Get a little, clean up.
Yeah.
So it's gonna bring it up just a touch.
Yep.
Okay.
I think it brings it up to like 72,
Okay.
something like that.
And you did the research on the blower side. I mean, because your blower is actually bigger than the newer Z06 blower, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because the newer Z06 blower, they turn harder.
Yeah, it's a 1.7,
Yeah. Yours is what?
1.9.
I think he's got, I mean, I can't imagine this being anything but fantastic.
It's going to be.
I think it'll be more than fantastic.
Instant on, big power. It'll be good.
All right. You got any questions for me other than when?
Yeah, when?
Well, now we got this stuff. We can start moving forward.
Yeah.
We're good. We're real good.
We got to take ours apart too.
Yeah.
Sorry about the delay. I didn't come last week, so
I know.
Yeah, he was busy signing autographs in Florida.
yeah, had some stuff.
What else you need? You got your trans was pre-existing. You got the what's supposed to be the right converter for this.
Mm-hmm.
I got you the blower pulley and damper.
Mm-hmm.
What else you missing? Injectors? Or
Injectors are pre-existing as well.
you think you're going to make it with that? Okay.
I think so.
And Tom,
Conservative.
what did you do for tuning? You got somebody lined up?
Sorta.
Okay.
Dude, it can't be sorta. You can't drive the car around until it's
Yeah.
tuned.
I brought that up because Tom hated on you a little bit,
I
and he's
did.
like, "What the fuck is wrong with Jeff? He is not driving that
this
thing."
Is not fucking blowing up again.
That's
I mean, if we gotta take get a GoFundMe and we'll get a tow truck to take it wherever it's got to go, but it's gotta be right.
there was a little snafu with the tuning, but that was my fault, not the tuner. It was all my
I'm not blaming the tuner, but you can't put the motor back together. It's got a 4-inch crank in it now.
Yeah.
The tune's not right.
I know.
Okay,
I
we're on the same page.
me personally, see that. Yes, I'm a little neurotic.
No,
Going from the engine dyno
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine not making sure a motor runs okay and is good before it goes in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys to me that are putting it in the car and then sorting stuff out. I mean, and don't get me wrong, 90% of the time, nothing happens. Or probably more than that, probably 99.9% if you do a good job, nothing happens. But I would not even want that thing to turn 1 mile on the street unless it was sitting on rollers first.
absolutely.
My thought.
Well, this time the motor's not in the car,
All right, good deal.
so
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe we get somebody to run it here.
maybe.
Could you do, Scott? You're off mic, but let me ask you a question. Could you do a tune, on a dyno and get it close or no?
You can get it close. Yeah, you can get it close, but it's not necessarily going to be the same once it's in the car. The big difference is with fuel injection, having an alternator in the car versus using this power supply at the dyno.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually have to calibrate for different battery voltages, like when all the electrical stuff is on, headlights, wipers, and all that junk.
Mm-hmm.
If you run an alternator on the dyno, there's some sweeps I do. Sometimes people tell me, yeah, you got to have this tune on the engine dyno, and then we're going to put it in the car, and it's expected to run. So I'll tune it with a variable voltage power supply, but you can get it close if you know what you're doing. An EFI guy that knows what he's doing can get it close or real close on the engine dyno, but you still want to tweak it in the car.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that Jeff is squared away before he puts his foot in it again.
No doubt.
Well, that's why I was asking all the questions about timing, because I want to schedule,
right,
roller time.
Yeah.
But I can't do that unless I know when I'm getting this.
You got AAA?
Yeah.
All right, good. So when it's done, just get it towed there.
Yeah.
So you broke. Here's my shop to fix it. They won't even ask.
That actually works. Yeah.
Yeah, it does work.
That's what they did last time.
Okay.
Hell
so
yeah.
We're good to go.
Took it to the wrong guy.
That's right. You'll
Okay.
get the right guy this time.
Yeah.
All right. So we got anything else?
I'm good.
Cletus, you awake?
No, reading the Mixler as usual.
Yeah, I know.
You want to say goodnight? You want to take us out, Ted?
Do I win?
Sing?
Oh my God, here we go again.
It was, hey, good time.
Yeah, it was
Thanks
good.
for calling. That's
Thanks,
what I can say.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I enjoy talking these Drag Week guys. I
Yep.
mean, I want to thank Scott for coming in and Jeff for stopping by.
Yep.
And we're just going to keep going. We'll be back again next week, and we've already got people lined up. We've got
yeah, we
people
do.
now that want to be on, so that makes it even easier.
Yep.
We don't have to chase them.
Next, we're
All
going
right.
to have our listeners start paying.
Yep. See ya.